The Big Bang. Duncan is a cheeky engine. He likes to have fun with his friends. He likes playing Biff Bash Bosh with Peter Sam. And he enjoys joking with James. One day, Duncan and Peter Sam were shunting trucks at the wharf when Thomas arrived. Mr. Percival came to see him. "Thomas," he said, "the narrow gauge engines are bringing bricks, flour, and lumber. They must be loaded into your trucks by dinner time." And Mr. Percival left. Thomas felt very happy. So he blew his whistle loudly. Rheneas was surprised. He jumped and biffed his flatbeds into each other. The pipes spilled out and nearly ran over a workman's hut. Duncan and Peter Sam laughed, but Rheneas didn't think it was funny. "You could have caused a serious accident," he shouted. "You were lucky there weren't any workmen in that hut." "I'm sorry," said Thomas sadly. He hadn't meant to cause a nasty accident. "I'll get the breakdown train and clear up." "Good," said Rheneas. "Now then, I need some water before collecting those lumber trucks." And he chuffed away. "That was fun," puffed Duncan. Now he wanted to play more jokes and have more fun. "Let's find another engine to peep." "Mighty Mac is on their way. Let's peep when they get here," chuffed Peter Sam. So they puffed away. Later, Mighty Mac puffed into the wharf. They were pulling trucks filled with bright orange bricks to be loaded into Thomas's empty trucks. They didn't know Duncan and Peter Sam were hiding behind some vans. As Mighty Mac shunted the train onto the transfer siding, both engines blew their whistles loudly. Mighty Mac bumped their truck so hard that the coupling snapped and their train ran backwards into Rusty, who was refueling at the refueling depot. Rusty was covered in orange brick dust. The steam engines laughed, but Rusty was cross. "That wasn't funny," he snapped. "Can't you see I'm refueling? You might have caused an accident." And he rattled crossly away. "Bah, what does he know?" chuffed Duncan. "That was hilarious." "Indeed," puffed Mighty. "You can't catch us," hooted Mac. And they steamed around the wharf. Everyone was laughing and having fun. But no one collected the bricks. Then Duncan had another idea. "Sir Randall will be arriving with a flower any minute," he puffed. "Why don't we all peep him at once?" The other engines were very excited, and they all hid in the warehouse. As Sir Handel puffed into the warehouse, he couldn't see another engine. "No!" Duncan cried. He blew his whistle as loudly as he could. The other engines blew their whistles too. Sir Handel biffed his freight cars in surprise. Flour flew up into the air like a great white cloud. "You look like a ghost," laughed Mac. "Ooh," laughed Sir Handel. "Look at me, I'm a ghost." And he steamed away. Soon all the engines were chasing each other, and no one was doing any work. Then Duncan had another idea. "Rheneas is on his way. Let's peep him as well." The other engines thought this was a very grand idea. Rheneas trundled into the wharf. Duncan got ready with his whistle. The other engines got ready too. Peep! Rheneas shot forward. He was so surprised he accidentally went down the track towards the pier. He bumped into Skarloey, Skarloey bumped into Freddy, Freddy bumped into Rusty, and the engines burst through the buffers, smashed through the oil drums stacked on the wharf, and splashed into the canal. Luckily, only Freddy and Rusty fell into the canal, but Skarloey's front wheels were dangling off the edge of the pier. "Oh my!" cried the engines. Mr. Percival arrived. He was very cross. "What has been going on here?" he said. "There are bricks all over the rails, flour all over the warehouse, and now Rusty and Freddy are in the canal." "I'm sorry, sir," said Duncan. "It's all my fault. I was trying to play some jokes and have fun." "Duncan," sighed Mr. Percival, "there are times and places for telling jokes and playing games. This is not one of those times." "You must clear up this mess at once," he cried, "and Thomas's trucks must be loaded by 5 o'clock. And he walked away sternly. "How are we going to get this mess cleaned up by 5 o'clock? chuffed Peter Sam. "Well," said Duncan, "if we all work together, we'll have this mess cleaned up in no time." So for the rest of the day, all the engines worked together to clean up the mess. Duncan cleaned up the mess at the transfer sidings. As soon as the workmen had reloaded the bricks, Duncan shunted them into the sidings. Mighty Mac and Peter Sam worked together to clean up the warehouse, while Sir Handel went to collect new trucks of flour. When he returned, Duncan took the flour cars into the sidings as well. Then Peter Sam pulled Rheneas and Scarloey back onto the tracks. Rusty and Freddy were lifted out of the water, and Mighty Mac took them to the works. The workmen had the lumber wagons ready, and Peter Sam shunted them into the sidings too. Finally, Thomas had one long train of bricks, flour, and lumber, and it wasn't even dinner time. Mr. Percival returned. "My, what a wonderful job," he said. "Now then, Thomas, where are your freight cars?" Thomas smiled. He had been hiding his freight cars. "Here they are, sir," he whistled happily. "Loaded up and ready to go." The narrow gauge engines laughed, and Mr. Percival laughed too. "Thomas," he said, "that was a good joke. You are a really funny engine." And Thomas puffed away. He knew Mr. Percival didn't mean it. Duncan can still be cheeky at times, but I think he knows that sometimes the most fun of all is working with your friends. Don't you?